Howdy, friends. This is Pastor Mark, and I'm excited to be here in our sanctuary at Pleasant Retreat United Methodist Church to bring you a special and important announcement. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has presented some challenging circumstances for each of us individually, for our families, and for our church. But I've got good news. When our God faces a challenging circumstance, He overcomes with His presence, with His provision, and with His power. He lends all of that to us, and as we face these challenges, He's been right there helping us overcome them day in and day out. One of those ways that we have overcome the challenging circumstances that COVID presents to us as a church is through our drive-in worship service. And I'm proud of us for producing that service. I'm proud of everyone who has helped put that together, and I'm excited and I'm thankful for everyone who has come to that service. But myself and our church leadership now feel like it's time to take some responsible steps forward in order to come back inside for worship. And so here is your announcement. On October 4th, Sunday, October 4th, you will have 3 ways to worship with us at Pleasant Retreat United Methodist Church. The first and the earliest way at 8 a.m. will be our sanctuary service, our indoor sanctuary service. The second way is our outdoor service. We're going to continue to worship outdoors at 10:30 a.m. We are going to shift from a drive-in model to just an outdoor model, and I will talk more about that in a few moments. And the third way that you are invited to worship with us at Pleasant Retreat is online. An advantage of coming inside will mean that we get better videos, we get better quality recordings and longer recordings, and we'll be able to share that with those of us who still desire to worship online. I'd like to take just a moment to explain why we made this decision. As we worship outside, there are certain expressions of worship that we will lose as we come inside. So, for example, we can sing freely and robustly, as John Wesley would tell us to do outside. Our families can wiggle and giggle and move around without being stressed about trying to stay within a pew. We can worship in the goodness of God's creation, and we can provide a space that is utterly and completely safe for even the most at-risk friends among us. But what we've realized is that there's expressions of worship that we are missing indoors by being outdoors. One of those is to come and to worship in the memory and in the presence of the saints who have gone on before us. As I look around this sanctuary, I have those memories and those feelings about people, and you do too. And so worshiping in the midst of that in the sacred space is so important. Another one is worshiping with the music that's moved us traditionally and throughout our lives. So a different expression of music will help us worship as well. By offering these 3 worship expressions, we feel like we're offering you and opening up your ability to fully express yourself in worship. And when we worship in spirit and truth, fully expressing ourselves in spirit and in truth as we worship, then we can become the disciples that Jesus calls us to be, and we can be empowered to go out and make disciples as Jesus calls us to do. And so these services should be seen as companion services, not separate but companion. You can experience the fullness of worship by coming to both. Now, I don't mean come to both in the same Sunday. It will be the same sermon at both services. We will have communion at both services. But I imagine one week you might be led to worship through singing, and you'll come to our outdoor service. And maybe the next week is kind of a down week and you don't feel like singing and you want to come in and worship in our sacred space, and so you might come to our indoor service. However you want to work that out, I encourage you to prayerfully with your household consider how it is that you would like to worship with us in the coming days and weeks and months. I would also like to take just a couple minutes in this video to describe to you what you might expect to see or experience as you come to either of our services, either of our in-person services. So first, let's just talk about some general precautions about all the services that apply across the board. And you know these things. If you have new or worsening symptoms of COVID-19, or you've been exposed to someone that's been confirmed positive for COVID-19, we ask that you please stay home. We don't want to risk anything. Stay home and worship with us from home, or you could even come to our outdoor service and just stay in your car. Don't get out, don't say hi to anyone, but stay in your car and worship with us that way. That would be a graceful and loving act of you. We need to keep 6 feet between us, so you shouldn't be able to high five or handshake with anyone. We need to avoid physical contact with each other because when we're close enough for physical contact, we're close enough to breathe on each other. And all of our high contact surface areas and spaces, doorknobs and things continue to be sanitized or avoided altogether through all of this. Now, let's talk about our outdoor service because I think it'll be the easiest to summarize here. We are going to move from a drive-in to an outdoor. And so as you arrive, you will have 2 options to worship with us. You can either park and bring a lawn chair and come up. We'll be in front of the fellowship hall, at least to start out. We might have to relocate, we'll see. But our first Sunday will be in front of the fellowship hall. Just set up your chair, spread out 6 to 10 feet from everyone. Wear a mask as you're moving around, but then if you're far enough away from people, do what's reasonable and make smart decisions there. And bring your own chair and do that. We won't have chairs for you. We won't set up chairs for you. So if you want a chair, you need to bring a chair. The other way that you can participate in the outdoor service is to still continue to drive up. Since we'll be in front of the fellowship hall, just drive up and park and stay in your car or stay near your car. So if you still like that drive-in experience, you can still worship with us in that way. And that will be absolutely wonderful. Now, as I turn to talk about our indoor service, it will look quite a bit different than normal. First off, we're going to require masks at our indoor service. If you'd like to worship mask-free, you have that opportunity at our outdoor service or by worshiping from home. And so if you're going to come to our indoor service, we will require you to wear a mask, and we can provide one if you don't have one. As you arrive, we ask that you arrive only 5 to 10 minutes early. Don't plan to socialize before the service. There'll be plenty of time afterwards to socialize. But arrive 5 to 10 minutes early, come in the front door, and an usher will tell you where to sit or show you where to sit. And we ask that you sit there and you stay there. Now, this means that you probably won't get to sit in your regular spot, but this is to increase capacity and increase flexibility for us and increase safety as well. And there won't be singing, sadly, but joyfully, there will be music. We'll be blessed with David's immense musical talents. We might have some special music going forward, and we might sing our sending hymn. We'll see about that, but we might sing our sending hymn at least as one expression of worship inside. David said in Psalm 122, I was glad when they told me, come into the house of the Lord, and praise God, I am glad about that. But let's consider the context of that psalm. As you read the last verse of that psalm, you will see that the purpose of coming into the house of the Lord is so that God's goodness will be known throughout the world. And so as you get excited about worshiping with us in these new ways, whether it's outside, at home, or in the sanctuary, I encourage you, be glad, just like David. But don't come to worship just because it's what you've always done. That's a poor reason for worshiping. You need to reorder your priorities if you're coming to worship just because it's what you've always done. Friends, come to worship because you expect God to transform your life. And through being transformed yourself, we might transform the world, our neighbors, our families, our community. And so may God bless this endeavor and bless this new order of worship to that end, that we spread goodness throughout our world and don't spread anything else. Friends, thanks for watching. We look forward to worshiping with you October 4th. If you'd like more information, check the description below. There's more details about our precautions and the details about what we're doing to keep everyone safe and healthy. And if you've got any questions, reach out to me. God bless.